Hi, my name's Charity. I'm from Accessible Nutrition and I'm a co-author of a cookbook called Easy Healthy Tasty to help you in the kitchen. Today we're going to be making basil pesto together. You'll need a few things, but you just chuck it all in and at the end you get a delicious sauce that you can mix through whatever pasta you like. So today we're going to be using some basil because we're making a basil pesto. We'll also need some Parmesan cheese. We'll need some pine nuts. We'll need some garlic. I've got some minced garlic ready to go. And some olive oil. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to toast the pine nuts in the microwave. Now I've got a third of a cup of pine nuts here and I've put them on a plate here with a piece of paper towel at the bottom and a piece of paper towel that will fold over the top. We just want to make sure that they're in one layer so that they're not all heaped on top of each other. And I'm going to cover that over now and I'm going to take that to the microwave and microwave it in probably roughly 1 minute increments until they start to look nice and golden brown, but just a touch, because these will keep cooking a little bit after you take them out of the microwave. So you want to stop them just before you think they're nice and toasty, or else you'll end up with burnt pine nuts, which wouldn't be very nice. So I'll be back in a moment once we've done that. So we're back now. That only took just over a minute actually. That only took 1.5 minutes today. And you can see that some of the pine nuts have already gone quite a golden brown. So I wanted to stop now to make sure that I didn't burn those. And they're still quite hot at the moment, so they will keep cooking for just a little bit. Now, while those cool down, we're going to get on with the rest of what we need to do before we whip this all up together to make the basil pesto. So the hero ingredient, if you like, of course, is the basil. And now this is just a plant that I bought at, I think, Aldi, but you can get them in most supermarkets these days. Often you can find all the herbs like in the plastic sleeves, but sometimes you'll find them in little punnets. And I would always recommend that if you've got somewhere to keep it, that you would get the ones in the punnets, because I've already used this plant a few times. It didn't cost me any more than buying one of the ones in the sleeves, but I've been able to get a few months worth of use out of this particular plant. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to pick off most of the leaves really, because we want probably about 2 cups of leaves if we can get that much off this. And probably this will be one of the last jobs that this particular basil does for me. But next time I'm at the shops and I can find another little basil plant, I'll purchase that and that'll keep me going for a bit longer. All right, that'll probably do us. Now I've bruised some of these leaves in the process, but it doesn't really matter because it's all going to get whizzed up together anyway. I'm just going to pop to the sink and give these a rinse and we'll come back and then we'll keep going. Okay, so we've done most of the hard work by picking the basil leaves really. The first thing we're going to add to our little food processor here is about 50 grams of Parmesan. Now this comes in a nice 200 gram block because we don't use Parmesan very often in our house. And I've already made one lot of pesto with it. So I know that if I cut off another quarter of the block, that's roughly 50 grams. And all the measurements today, they don't have to be particularly exact. So don't go getting your scales out or anything. You can just eyeball it. And if you like your pesto extra cheesy, feel free to add more cheese to it. And if you're not a particular cheese fan, then you can add less if you want. It's up to you. Now, just to get this going in my food processor, I like to just cube it just a little bit, but not particularly precious about it. And we're going to put that in. Pick up the last bits. Put those in too. And we're going to add some garlic. Now I've got minced garlic that I bought in the jar because it's easy to go that way. And I'm just going to put in probably about a teaspoon worth. And that's about the equivalent of 1 clove of garlic. If you really love garlic, again, feel free to add some more if you want to. It's your recipe, it's your dinner, and you can do what you like with it. Now, I'm going to give that just a little whiz to kind of break up the cheese quickly, and then we're going to add in our basil. So this might get a little bit noisy, but I'll probably get rid of that noise. So if you have a little look in there, you can see it just looks like crumbled cheese. And we're going to add in our basil now. We're just going to stuff it all in there. I'm going to put the lid on and give it another quick whiz, and then we'll add some oil. So that's sort of starting to stick a bit at the bottom. So I need to add some moisture, and I'm going to do that at the moment by adding in some olive oil here. And the amount of olive oil that you need to add will probably depend a bit on how moist your leaves are, how moist the garlic was, what the humidity is like today, all those things. What we want to do is we want to add enough oil so that we can make a nice, still with a little bit of form to it, chunky pesto that we can then mix through whatever pasta dish we like. And if you keep watching on the Easy Healthy Tasty channel, you'll find that we also have a recipe ready to go for you for chicken and spinach pesto pasta, and this recipe is perfect to use in that. One last thing to add to our pesto before it's ready, and that of course is the pine nuts that we toasted earlier in the microwave. We're just going to pour those in. A quick whiz and that'll be done. So that's probably a little bit too chunky. Probably needs just a tad more oil. And if you find that this recipe makes more than you need, what you can do is grab yourself an ice cube tray, something a bit like this. And if you spoon in ice cube trays worth of the pesto, you can freeze that, and then for lunch in, I don't know, 3 weeks time when you don't know what to have, boil yourself some pasta and stir through a cube of pesto and you've got lunch done. Now that's looking nice. I'm just going to scrape down the edges a little bit here. Make sure we don't miss out on that cheese that's crawled up the sides there. And I'll give that one tiny final whiz just to incorporate all of that. And it's done. There's our really simple to make basil pesto. I'm gonna give this, I might give this plant just a little haircut. We never know, it might spring back a little bit. There's still some life to it. So I might use it again next time. See you later, bye.